job cuts and working conditions in the mining industry take center stage, and there's a call for a review of these issues. However, these conversations have become more vital than ever as we further enter the fourth industrial revolution, where technological advancement through machinery and digital platforms are set to replace millions of jobs in the mining industry globally. And for a developing nation like South Africa, is this sustainable, and how are we preparing for this transformation in mining? Joining us now in studio is the National Union of Mine Workers Secretary General, Mr. David Sipunzi. Very good morning to you, sir, and welcome.
Good morning, Elvis. Good morning to your viewers.
First and foremost, I want to get your overall impression about the mining in Durban, and how did it go for you?
Well, the mining in Durban for us as NUM is a meeting of the wealthy who are concerned about creating more and more wealth. That is why we attended the alternate mining in Durban, not the one that was organized by the wealthy and the mine owners.
So why that stance then? Is that a boycott to tell them that you are not interested in what the wealthy want to say to you?
We believe that the mining in Durban itself doesn't have the interest of workers at heart, and also the communities from which they mine. So we don't see ourselves being in cahoots with the mine bosses on that.
But do you think there's enough discussion around the challenges in the mining sector itself?
Well, I can say, well, there is not much discussion as to how we can tackle the challenges in the industry. We're not pulling to the same direction. You find the DMR having their own thinking, the mine owners having their own thinking, and the labor having their own thinking as to how the industry should be taken forward.
So there's no cohesion. It looks like, as you are putting it, that they're working in silos.
Definitely.
Now, let's talk about the alternative in Durban that you had. What came out of that one, and what was progressive in terms of moving forward?
Well, what is progressive about that is that as communities, we speak in one voice, saying that the mining industry should benefit the people from which they mine, the communities from which they mine. And we are united in that. In as far as going forward, as long as there's this exclusive mining in Durban, we'll continue having our own mining in Durban.
Now, job losses are often an issue that takes center stage at the mining in Durban. Was that also the case at the alternative in Durban?
Yes, we are very much concerned about job losses. Job losses are a daily thing in the mining industry. As we speak now, 2 companies have served us with Section 189, which means they have intention to retrench people.
How many people are we talking about?
With Sibanye Gold, we're talking about 707 people for now. This is January, February. And for Anglo Gold Ashanti, we're talking 849 people. However, with Anglo Gold Ashanti, with our intervention, that figure can be reduced to half, that 849.
And what would that interventions be? Because it is a problem if we lose so many workers at one time.
Well, we have identified a lot of vacancies across the company in other areas. So people will have to be transferred to other areas where there's shortages.
The industrial revolution, Mr. Sipunzi, is on our doorstep, and that will change the mining industry also completely. If we look at this industrial revolution and the technologies that will replace people in their workplace, do we expect, and we know that we're talking about plus minus 5 million job losses globally around the globe?
Well, this issue of mechanization is not a solution, and is not going to be a solution in South Africa for a long time to come. Legend goes that many years ago, mine bosses tried to train baboons to lash. And they would lash, showing the baboon how to lash, and stop. And the baboon would lash as the man is lashing and stop. And they realized that this cannot work. And with mechanization, you know, these machineries are bought from Europe. And when they break, it takes time for them to be repaired. And that is costing production. Yes, mechanization for areas that are deep and too dangerous for human beings to go and work can be a solution, but not generally use mechanization to mine in order to get rid of workers.
Mining companies for years have benefited from the mines here in South Africa, but the people on the ground, the workers themselves, haven't benefited. Beneficiation is said to be a key in moving forward. What is your take on that, and how do we achieve that?
Well, we have long been talking about beneficiation. Actually, I don't see it happening to the extent that it creates more jobs. We mine our gold, it gets to India, it gets processed there, and comes back more expensive. There's very little that is happening in as far as beneficiation is concerned.
So at this point in time, where you stand as the Mine Workers Union, that you are not talking to big business, you are not going to participate in these discussions. So how are we going to resolve this issue with labour and the mining industry?
Well, we don't say we are not going to participate in discussions where we are invited or where we have to. The fact that we don't participate in the mining industry, we find that that is just a talk shop of the rich. But when we are invited to talk about how we can save jobs, we are willing to participate.
SG, I thank you so much for your time and joining us here in studio.
Thank you very much.
That was Mr. David Sipunzi. He's the National Union Mine Workers Secretary General joining us here in studio. We'll continue this.